Let's go.
Found out that my 26M GF24F cheated a year ago, but my legal status in the US depends on us staying together. Met my GF over a year ago while on a J1 visa in the US. I met her only 9 days after arriving, so we basically spent my entire 3 months there together. We fell in love pretty fast and had an amazing time. We knew I had to go home at the end of the 3 months, but we had many deep conversations about us and what we wanted, and decided we'd give being in a long-distance relationship a shot. I left the States, and about 4 weeks later, she came to visit me in my home country. It was like a movie, showing her the small town I grew up in, and all the places I went to as a kid. We even did a little trip around some other close-by countries. We both had a very convenient work situation where we could be remote, so every 6 weeks one of us would go visit the other for a month. On the days we were apart, we would FaceTime every single day and never missed a day. Talking to her is so easy. It got to a stage where we realized that going back and forth isn't sustainable, so we looked into moving to the same country together. She happens to be an EU citizen through her dad, so it made sense for her to at least try to move to my country for a bit and work remotely. We had a great time, but realized pretty quickly that the lifestyle in my country wasn't really suited to us and the life we want, and the job market is complete trash. So we decided that because everything about the relationship was perfect, we would get legally married so that I could live with her in the States. It made more sense, even for things outside of the relationship, like for example, I have a STEM degree that would pay extremely well in the city she's from, and it's very hard for me to get a STEM job in my hometown. She also has a very close relationship with her family. On good terms with mine, but definitely not as close. Anyway, I'm extremely excited for this new life in the US. I have a lot of friends in her city from living there, and I have potential to make a serious amount of money. I came to the US, we got legally married, and while I'm waiting for my green card, I was able to get an EAD work permit, with which I have secured a dream job in this dream city, which is paying me about 3x more than any job I've ever had in my life. I started the job yesterday. Anyway, around the time of the anniversary of us deciding to be exclusive, she started acting weird when I was talking about saying it was a happy day and we should mark the occasion. She didn't respond to my texts about it and avoided the conversation when I talked about it in person. She put it down to being so stressed at work, and to be fair, she has a very stressful job, so I believed her. But I still had a weird feeling in my gut, so I said it again a few weeks later that we should do something to mark the occasion now that work is less stressful, even if it's late now. She got weird about it again. So then I decided to have a snoop, which I'm not proud of and I know is frowned upon by many, but we have talked about it and gave each other a license to snoop. She snoops my phone all the time, and I don't care as I've nothing to hide. I'd never snooped hers before until this time. Anyway, all I did was search the name of the guy she was seeing before me in her texts, and I saw all that I needed to know. Next morning, I was in a terrible mood, and she could see this. So after her persistently asking why, I say that I saw something on her phone and I need her to explain it to me honestly. Long story short, she had hooked up with this guy about a week after we had become exclusive. They went on a dinner date, went to a nightclub after, and then went back to her apartment, where I had stayed the night before this happened and the night after this happened, and had sex. She confessed all of this to me today. I'm heartbroken and I don't know what to do. We've had such a dream relationship and everything is great other than this. I also can't stay in this dream job in this really cool city if we break up. The situation in my home country is kind of bleak. I'm so conflicted for these reasons. She also said that if I decide to leave her, she completely understands, but also doesn't want to wait around pretending to be with me until I get my green card. I know we were early days, and I understand long distance is tough, but I think I have a right to be sad if she has sex with someone after we agree to be exclusive. Does anyone have thoughts on what I should do? Salt TLDR. GF cheated and I find out over a year later. If we break up, I have to leave the USA and quit my dream job. New update Raz I guess more people responded to my post than I expected, and I said I'd give an update, so here it is. Oh man, so much shit has happened I don't know where to begin. I wanted to let the dust settle a bit before I posted anything else, but anyway, here I am. I'll try keep it as short as I can. Long story short, I didn't want to leave the US and my job, but I'm also not a complete psychopath and I can't fake a relationship for 2+ years to get a green card. My guilty conscience would kill me. So I decided to try and make the marriage genuinely work. Yes, I talked to a lawyer about it all, BTW. We had very unproductive arguments about it all initially. I had her sister calling me, telling me I need to just get over it because dating in California is brutal, and I should be okay with cheating. I also find out a whole lot more shit about her. This isn't the first time she cheated. She cheated on her other most significant boyfriend before me with her old boss from work multiple times, and continued to hook up with the boss up until a couple months before we met. Why is this relevant, you ask? Because around when she told me this, I realized that this is the same work friend who calls her all the time and sends her risky texts, often asking to hang out at work or outside of work, at least a couple times a month, and she always entertains it. Then I find out that she was still on dating apps for the first 6 months of us being officially boyfriend and girlfriend. I still to this day don't know if anything came from that, but who knows? I don't like it. There were some more smaller things which I won't get into right now, but you get the idea. Long story short, she eventually admits to being in the wrong here, sincerely, I think, apologizes after some therapy, etc., and the dust appears to be settling. The seek continues to get gradually worse. So a few months later, we're not arguing anymore. All seems fine except we almost never have sex. Sometimes I'd try initiate and Shed just reject it. Maybe we'd have sex twice a month. Not ideal, but worse things can happen. Anyway, we go to a couple of parties, but each time we go to one, she gets wasted. This girl usually barely drinks. She's quite small though, so I'm thinking a little alcohol could go a long way on her. Anyways, I start finding these kratom supplements in her car and in her purse, etc. For those that don't know about it, look at some Reddit threads about it. The shit is highly addictive and ruins people's lives. It also really affects how you deal with alcohol. So anyway, I bring it up to her that I found these kratom shots and I hope it's not a way of self-harming. It erupts into a huge argument, starts telling me she doesn't like telling me about her problems. It was so much easier with her ex, who she cheated on with her old boss. Says she doesn't want to have sex because of little things I do that she thinks are unattractive. Some examples of these things are, I used Google Maps while bringing us on a date one time. I asked if she could stop scrolling on Instagram while we were out for dinner. I'm not forceful enough, whatever that means. I don't make as much money as some guys she works with. I make over 6 figures, lol. My arms are too skinny too, apparently. Her ex were way bigger. I used to be a semi-pro sprinter. I'm by no means in bad shape and I'm also 6'4". Anyways, this argument was my first ever time actually losing my cool with her. I shouted, regrettably, and called her crazy, almost broke up. But then I remembered I wanted to keep my job, so again worked through it. Fast forward a month or two, she's doing therapy and genuinely making an effort. We're having sex again, we talk about our problems, but only on Sundays. Rest of the week, we just do nice things when we're not working, and it's fun. Her old boss is blocked, and there doesn't seem to be any issues, other than her trying to beat her addiction to those kratom shots. I can see that she's really trying to not let me go. She jumps out of bed every morning to make me breakfast, cooks me dinner every night, makes an effort to do things with me, etc. She got a little more controlling, but I don't mind, using the excuse of, I'm your wife now, so it's okay. This is all well and good until my mother calls me and tells me my granddad is sick back home and may only have a couple weeks left. I was very close with my granddad. We spoke on the phone a lot while I was away, and I grew up with him as if he was a second father. He was also in perfect shape the last time I saw him. He was a pro soccer player and never smoked or drank his whole life. Cancer just got him at 88 and he went downhill within a couple weeks. I don't have a travel permit. If I leave the US, I lose this green card application. I talked to lawyer, yes. But for the first time, I considered giving up everything because it would have meant a lot to me to see him before he died. I thought, well, at least I could reapply for the green card, but my wife made it very clear that if I went home, she would divorce me. I was lost, confused, sad, and emotional, and in the few days where I hesitated on my decision, my granddad passed away. I was completely heartbroken, and while my wife was there for me, I still resented her for what she said about if I go home. However, I've kept quiet about this one. I don't really have the energy to argue anymore. Anyways, Fast forward to the last month or two. She's doing well in work, it's a commission-based real estate job, and her company are having an event in Nashville for people aged 20, 30 all over the world that are working at that company. She tells me that her and a few friends from her office are invited. The company are paying for the hotel. She says I should come. Other people are bringing their partners, and I also have a couple close friends in Nashville who I have always wanted to go visit. I think, yeah, great, why not? Anyway, couple weeks go by, and I hear nothing about us booking flights. I overhear her in different rooms on the phone to her friends talking about going to Nashville, etc. Eventually I say, hey, we should book flights before it gets super expensive. But, lo and behold, she gets weirdly mad and says she doesn't want me to come because it doesn't financially make sense for me to spend $400 on a flight when we've rent to pay. Makes no sense, considered how much I make, how much I have saved. We have a small argument about it, but I let it go. We don't talk about the trip again until yesterday when she was packing her bags. I was lying on the bed finishing something for work on my laptop as she packed. She asked, why am I being weird? I said I'm just trying to concentrate, which I was, and then she gets disproportionately mad and says, do I think she's going to do something with someone else in Nashville? She starts saying she can't believe I think that lowly of her, it's disgusting, etc. Meanwhile, I've been sitting silently. I did not prompt this, but this looks like a red flag to me. I tell her, don't be silly. Of course I don't think that. Even though because of what she just said, I'm not sure. Anyway, I drop her to the airport this morning. She goes to Nashville. All is well. She texts me a few times during the day. She's usually very responsive to me on her phone. She's constantly on it, to the point where it can be annoying. She gets mad at me when I don't respond to her fast enough sometimes. So she calls me to tell me that she's going out on Broadway, Party Street in Nashville, with some people from her company's New York office that she just met. I say, have fun. Usually she's always texting me and updating me to let me know she's safe. But tonight? No, I can see her location in nightclubs. I text her to give me a call when she's walking home. So I know she's safe. I don't even get a text. I see her walk back to the hotel. I've texted and tried calling multiple times. Keep getting sent to voicemail. It's been about 2/3 hours since she got back to the hotel. Still no word from her. We all know what she's doing. So yeah, here I am, typing this in the early hours of the morning, lacking sleep, so forgive me if this post is a bit of a mess. I've just about reached a breaking point. How do I deal with this? Is this relationship salvageable? TLDR, we tried to work it out, and it's not looking good. Can I save it?